What lies behind the Obama strategy in Yemen?
Well, there are two main prongs to the current Obama strategy. They happen to be in conflict, which causes some problems in Washington. One is the drone campaign. Yemen has been the main target of the global assassination campaign, the most extraordinary global terrorism campaign in history. It is officially aimed at, as in this last strike, it's aimed at people who are suspected of potentially being a danger to the United States. That's a pretty extreme form of terrorism, but it's accepted in the West, and Yemen has been the main target. Of course, it's also a terror-generating campaign, as is understood at the highest level. When you, say, attack a village and murder somebody who you're aiming at, and maybe a couple other people are standing around, that does tend to elicit a call for revenge. And it has undoubtedly, not even questionable, increased what we call terrorism. So it's a terrorism campaign, an incredibly incredible one, and also increasing terror, as we can see. The other prong is support for the Saudi invasion, the bombing, the blockade, which has barred food and other supplies by air or by sea, direct bombing attacks, also killing people regularly. And these two things happen to be somewhat in conflict, because the U.S. is supporting the Saudi attack, and the Saudi attack supported by the United States is offering space for the operations of Al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula, the main source of what we call terror. So, for example, the New York Times has an article on how Al-Qaeda is expanding in Yemen, conquering new cities, banks, so on, because of the space that's left open by the war against the Houthi, the Saudi war, who were the main enemy of Al-Qaeda and are now engaged in a war basically with Saudi Arabia and the United States. So these two elements of policy, both of them extremely harmful to Yemen, are also somewhat in conflict, which creates a problem for planners in Washington.
You said the Houthis were this main opponent of Al-Qaeda in that area. Even Russia only abstained at the UN Security Council when it came to imposing sanctions on this Houthi government. Why do you think the international community seems to be, well, de facto supporting the forces of Al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula and perhaps ISIS in their support for the Saudi operation?
Well, we should bear in mind that the term international community, in fact, refers to the United States and whoever happens to be going along with it. So the international community, so-called, is pretty much tolerating or supporting U.S. policy. Russia was not part of the international community in this case. China is probably a passive member, but it's basically the United States, Britain, and France, the traditional imperial powers. That's the international community. Same with regard to Iran. So we commonly read that the international community is strongly opposed to Iran's nuclear development policies, is dedicated to ending them, and so on. That's, if the international community includes the people of the world, that's not true. So the large majority of the population of the world are in G77 plus China, the old non-aligned movement. They had their last international conference in Tehran, where they once again vigorously supported Iran's nuclear programs. But that's not the international community. The international community means the masters of the world, those who go along with them. And in this case, yes, they're going along with the U.S. and its Saudi ally.